The clock's running out on December deal drops at Lowe's, but there's still time to wrap up something they'll love. Shop great gifts under $50, like the DeWalt Elite Series 100-piece bit set. Plus, if you order by 2 p.m., you get same-day delivery by 8 p.m. Shop December deal drops while you can. Lowe's. We help, you save.
Okay, only 10 more presents to wrap. You're almost at the finish line. But first... There, the last one. Enjoy a Coca-Cola for a pause that refreshes.
You're listening to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and hit your notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. This is our weekly recap of Kimora back in the Fab Lane. I'm glad that they're releasing 2 episodes at a time, just because I feel like if they didn't release another episode this week and it was just 1 episode, because they're only about 20-something minutes, I was like, okay, then I'll wait till next week so I can recap 2 episodes. But they released episodes 3 and 4. And Aoki's back. Aoki's back from Bali after spending a little time in Bali. They don't mention that she spent any time with her dad. Again, I'm assuming she may have spent time with her dad, despite their sort of social media battle that happened. What was it, last year that happened? So they spent a lot of time in episode 3 talking about that. But before we even get to Kimora back in the Fab Lane, I do want to talk briefly about the first 3 episodes. Not even, okay, that's the only amount of episodes that I've watched so far in regards to Owning Manhattan on Netflix. If you know me and if you followed, I did talk about season 1 of Owning Manhattan, how much I loved it and how many times I've watched it. I probably watched that first season, oh my gosh, 4 times probably. Just because I love looking at real estate, especially New York City real estate. But I love the way that this show is produced. So many of you have asked, do you watch Selling Sunset? And I tried to get into Selling Sunset, but it was so focused on the interpersonal drama. And let me tell you, Owning Manhattan has their interpersonal drama, but the interpersonal drama is about the real estate. It's about the business of real estate. And in season 2, just based off the first 3 episodes, I'm not done with it. And maybe I'll talk about this again in a separate video, or I'll talk about it next week when we recap Kimora back in the Fab Lane as well. But they do such a really great job of focusing on the business of real estate. And it's so interesting because season 1 was really just introducing us to Ryan Serhant, his business, him breaking out on his own and building that business and building his team. This season, it's a focus on him less being a broker or an agent and more of a CEO, and separating himself from that and making a name for himself in the business of real estate and garnering talent. So we're really getting to see what the business really looks like. And I know if you're a real estate agent or broker, you're like, this is not what the business is all about. But when it comes to reality television and what they can actually share and edit into an interesting show, they're doing a better job of giving us the real estate experience than a Selling Sunset. But maybe that's what they do over there in California. Didn't they do a Selling the City? What happened with that? What happened with that? I just feel like whoever is producing the show, and I see Ryan Serhant is one of the executive producers, and I have my qualms about Ryan Serhant. And Ryan, based off of what I watched in it, I'm like, I get why you are so against Zohran Mamdani. And I know, look, I would not be myself if I did not bring it up, because he was one of the millionaires and billionaires that in New York, because he represents a lot of billionaires too when it comes to buying real estate. So I get why he did it, but it just showed me who you are. But that's me. That's me. I couldn't. Honestly, I was like, Ryan, do not ruin season 2 for me, because the people that wanted Mamdani not to win were the people that don't believe that everyone should be able to live in an affordable New York City. And he swore that all the billionaires and millionaires were calling him up and saying that they were leaving New York. They're not leaving New York. Okay. If anything, the people that make this city so great, the people that want to live here, are forced to leave New York to more affordable cities. But okay, I've digressed. But we can't talk about New York City real estate and not talk about the recent election and the affordability or lack thereof affordability when it comes to New York real estate. And yes, we love to watch the show because we love to look at the $1 million real estate, and that's what we're looking at. But at the same time, Ryan coming out and making those comments, I was like, watching these episodes and watching out some of the people that he's working for and representing told me everything. Because at the end of the day, that's where his bread is buttered. And that's why when we talk about politicians that are bought and paid by these organizations, a lot of these real estate agents are as well. And they will be the puppets for these millionaires and billionaires. All right, I've digressed. But I will say, just watching the first 3 episodes, luckily the show, yes, it's following Ryan a lot, but mostly there's a onslaught of agents that are low level, just getting there, been doing it for a very long time, working in commercial real estate, not working in commercial real estate. It's get newbies and things like that. Shout out to our girl Trisha. Trisha, if you watch season 1, she wanted to move away from, well, not move away. She wanted to also get into doing Manhattan real estate. She was the Brooklyn broker. But here's the thing. As someone that lives in New York City, we have been saying for a while now that Brooklyn is the new Manhattan. There is so much construction happening in Brooklyn. And when I say construction, I'm not talking about affordable housing. I'm talking about a lot of high-rise luxury buildings are being built in Brooklyn. And my thing is, Trisha, you don't need Manhattan because a lot of people are moving to Brooklyn. And there's a lot of $1 million real estate to be sold in Brooklyn. Okay, but she wants to elevate, and I appreciate that. So we get to see that. But Trisha is not here for what's her face. I don't know what her name is. Look, she has like the deep blue eyes, and she's a brunette. I remember from last season, she's the one who got involved in the podcast with that guy that ended up getting fired. Yeah, that one. But Trisha doesn't like her, and Trisha doesn't have a poker face. Trisha's just like, because she's like, guys, I just made a big sale. What I was not realizing why Trisha didn't like her, she later says it, is because she doesn't appreciate how this person is making the real estate business look, trying to make it seem like it's easy because the deals she just secured were friends of hers. And that apparently is very common when it comes to her deals, that these are friends of hers that she's making these deals with. When Trisha's out here trying to secure clients, work her way up the ladder while it lives rent-free in my head, and you guys can Google schmoogle if you don't remember it. Omarosa on Bethany Frankel's now defunct, canceled talk show. I'm not going to even say it because there's no need. It lives rent-free in my head and probably some of your heads, what she said to Bethany on there. And why she, as a black woman, has to work 10 times as hard as opposed to a Bethany Frankel. Bethany's like, how I get in it? That's how you got in it. Because that conversation that Trisha has is what reminded me of it. I can't remember everyone's names, so I apologize. But it's a good cast. Oh my goodness. I think it was episode 3 or episode 4 where there's almost a physical altercation between the brokers because these 2 brokers confronted, and I can't remember her name, but I believe she's Dominican. Gorgeous. OMG, she's gorgeous. But I think in real estate, you also have to be gorgeous. You have to be very, sharp. You have to dress a certain way. It's very, especially in luxury real estate, you have to look the part. But she is gorgeous. And they were accusing her of sort of talking to one of their clients without being very transparent that, this is a listing that's under Sirhan. So they were accusing her of that. And she brought it up to her colleague, who's also been with Ryan Sirhan since the beginning. And I apologize, I can't remember everyone's name. It's the bald guy. he comes over there and he's there to defend her. Like, why are you guys confronting her, acting like this? And it almost gets heated between the two guys. So I was like, whoa, I didn't expect a almost physical altercation. So it gets heated, but we also get to see a lot of luxury real estate, including, you guys remember, so if you watched the Anna Delvey Netflix series by Shonda Rhimes, so you remember what Anna Delvey was trying to do. She was trying to buy that building because she wanted to turn it into this whole art thing. Anna Delvey is still running around in these streets as a free woman. Well, Ryan Serhant's big project is the building that she tried to buy, but she did not have proof of funds. That's how good Shonda Rhimes' storytelling of Anna Delvey. I've watched that twice already. I could watch that again, just talking about it, just seeing the property in real life. I could watch it again. That's how good Shonda Rhimes told that story. That story was juicy, especially when they went, was it Morocco that he went to? I am digressing. But come on, we're talking about television, okay? So one of the big properties that they're selling, well, last year they had a huge, it was like multi-million-dollar property that was hard to sell. He was trying to sell it. They ended up having to let it go. I don't know how they sell any of these properties. I'm sure any of these big ticket properties probably just is bought and just remains empty. I can't imagine anyone's actually utilizing these properties. Anyway, so the big property that he has this season is this Anna Delvey building. She never bought it, so it's not really her building, but that's the association. And it's a very unique building. It has a lot of different spaces in it. It has a restaurant. It has different things in it. So it's an interesting, even on the outside of this building, it looks very interesting. It almost looks like an interesting church, but it's not a church. I don't know how to describe different architecture, but it's different and it's older. So that's the big project this season. They need to sell this, but Ryan's way of selling it, he's like, I'm not going to put a price on it. You name your price. And if they feel like that's worth it, I mean, it's a different way of selling. And if you remember, Ryan Serhant was a part of Bravo. He was on $1 Million Listing New York, which I loved. I don't understand why they canceled it or put it on pause. Well, they've gone on to put on pause LA as well. I love it though. It's so crazy to me that Bravo would cancel those shows, but these types of shows are thriving on Netflix. But I think Selling Sunset thrives on the drama as opposed to the real estate and things like that. But again, I haven't watched Selling Sunset chapter and verse. I did watch Selling Tampa. We recapped Selling Tampa, but that was canceled. But okay. People were frustrated that they didn't sell any property. Anyway, moving on, because I do want to get to Kimora back in the Fab Lane. Some of the other things that happened on season 2 of Netflix's Owning Manhattan is, okay, we had the young lady that had the argument with her friend Jade. I apologize why I can't remember your name, but she came from Broadway and then she got into real estate. She ended up being pregnant. She's given birth. She snapped back really quickly, but she hadn't worked with Serhant for like 6 months. She took 6 months off. I'm guessing when you do really well in that business, you really don't have to work after a period of time. But she's back. I like her personality for reality television because she's sort of like, she's messy enough. She's always thinking out the box when it comes to her real estate. Her friend, or on again, they have like a frenemyship, it feels like, because they look like they were close, and now this season doesn't look like they're close. Jade, she's more in the commercial real estate business. So she wants this Anna Delvey building. And I was really impressed with her coming to Ryan and saying, I think I can sell this. Here are the different reasons. Here are my listings for this, and this. And I have a whole, PowerPoint presentation. One of the things that Ryan brings up is like, have you told your team lead? Because she's a part of a team. And she should be talking about this with them as well before going straight to the CEO. And she was like, no, And he's like, you really should. So that's another drama that's happening this season on Owning Manhattan, is the fact that she did not tell Bernadette, I think that's her name, Bernadette. I remember Bernadette's name, but I can't remember the main character's name. I apologize. Tell Bernadette about this. So that's going to cause drama between Jade and Bernadette. But Jade, I have to say this, because at first it's like, yeah, this is perfect. She is giving all the examples. She's well prepared. You should give it to her. But Ryan brings up, and look, Ryan has been in this business a long time. I know he has like a youthful face, but gray hair, but he's been in the business a long time. And the only reason why we know that is because we watched $1 Million Listing in New York. So he says to her, okay, first of all, you haven't talked about this with your team lead. And these are questions that the seller developer are going to be asking you. And he's just like, what have you sold? What have you sold that's like this? And how much was that? So she gets, gagged, basically. She becomes silent. And I'm thinking to myself, I was like, oh, wait a minute. Here I am ready to give her the job. But at the same time, Ryan is just like, I would love to give you this opportunity. But the sellers are going to be like, well, this person doesn't have experience selling this type of property.
This is Eva Longoria from Hungry for History with Eva Longoria and Maite Gomez Rejon. Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. Let's talk about those two words, about keeping the holidays happy. Because let's be honest, even the happiest season could use a boost. You've got to take a minute for yourself, a little me time, and refill those joy reserves so there's still plenty left to share. Maybe that means taking a break from wrapping, planning, cooking, hosting, to recharge with a refreshing Coca-Cola. One sip and you're ready to hang more lights. Sip and recharge your jolly now. Because self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary. Whether you're a holiday multitasker extraordinaire or the host with the most, or I don't know, the actual Santa Claus, you deserve a moment to reset. So if things are getting a little too jingly-jangly, take a breath. Center yourself. Have a Coke. And get back out there, refreshed, radiant, and ready to slay. Yes, I did. See how I did Santa's sleigh? You're welcome. Enjoy a Coca-Cola. Refresh your holidays.
I've got Dan Morgan here on the pod. Say hi, Dan.
Hey, how's it going today?
It's going good, man. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Dan Morgan. I'm an attorney and a managing partner at Morgan & Morgan, which is America's largest injury law firm.
That's pretty awesome. I think I saw a billboard of yours recently that said 20 billion won. 20 billion is an insane number.
Yeah, 20 billion recovered. It's actually, I think, somewhere north, probably closer to 22, 23 after this year. And each year we get bigger and badder and our army grows. So the number will hopefully keep getting bigger and bigger as time goes on.
Awesome. So how does someone get in contact with Morgan & Morgan? What would I do if I got into an accident?
Probably the easiest way is dialing pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. We are always open. Our call center is always waiting to take your call. 24/7, 365.
Wow. Dan Morgan from Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. Thanks for coming by the show.
Thanks for having me.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is all because, and I forgot if this conversation happened. I think it did happen after the seller developer basically said that they wanted Jordan, not the black Jordan, the white Jordan, the one that used to be the assistant to Ryan, said that they need to remove him off of the property that they were selling on West 96th Street. That's the thing. I'm learning things about real estate in New York that I didn't even realize, because they're talking about this particular property. It has all the great amenities, but 96th Street, the area, is hard to get people to want to go to 96th Street. And I was like, really? They don't want to go to 96th Street? But I feel like they gentrified Harlem, which is like 110 and up. So I was just like, I was surprised. And I'm not sure if that's 100% true. And if you're a real estate agent and you're watching this, please feel free to weigh in if you're also watching Owning Manhattan, and your thoughts on the whole narrative that it's hard to sell 96th Street in that area to sellers. Maybe at that particular price point Jordan was talking about, but Jordan gets kicked off. And Ryan has a conversation with his wife, who we became familiar with on million listing as well. And she gave him solid advice. She's like, you have to separate yourself in regards to, like, you are their boss. You are the CEO. You're not just their friend. So that's what Ryan is going through this season on Owning Manhattan. And he does end up having the conversation with Jordan. And Jordan, of course, is hurt by it because he's just like, I really wanted this to work. I've been going up there the entire summer. And I mean, he makes it seem like he's traveling far because I don't know where he's coming from. I think Sirhan, the offices are in like downtown. I don't even know where. Maybe Soho. I don't even know. So it's a good train ride up there, but it ain't that long. Maybe 30 minutes, if you're on the express, probably less. But anyway, so he's been traveling up there trying to sell this. I was like, 96th Street ain't bad. Let me take a look. Anyway, but here's the thing too, and I don't know 96th Street, the area like that. I don't know if it has all the things or if it's starting to get more things in regards to just certain amenities of the neighborhood, shopping, food, groceries, just everything that you may need. But I just feel like there are, but I could be wrong. I don't think so. It is still Manhattan, and I'm sure it's still not that far away because 125 is not too far from 96th Street. But if you live in an area, do you really want to go 30 blocks anywhere? All right, I'm fine. Fine. Maybe he just wasn't a good real estate agent. Could be that. But the seller was just like, yeah, we need him off of it. Speaking of Jordan, the Black Jordan, very handsome. He's always been handsome. I just love that he can wear a suit. I didn't know he could speak Japanese. He also started early with Ryan when Ryan was starting Sirhan. And he wants to be able to be a sales director on a property. And this particular property, he wanted the job. But Ryan had someone else in mind that wasn't working for him, but was doing big things at Cochrane. So now he's pulled that guy over. Like the very first episode, he's trying to woo this guy. He brings him to the property and it's just like, I would like for you to come and work for me. And at first he's sort of like, oh, I don't know. He eventually does. And he gives this particular property to him. But Jordan, the Black Jordan, is just like, I really wanted this opportunity. I'm one of your top sellers. So he ends up having a conversation because Black Jordan had a conversation with Ryan's wife about feeling sort of blindsided by not getting the opportunity. So he ends up having a conversation with Ryan. He's like, if you have issues with something that I've done or you have concerns, you should come to me and I shouldn't hear about it from anyone else, especially not my wife. He didn't say that part, but yeah, he should have a conversation with Ryan. And I don't know, again, I don't know their history. Like we can only go by what the show gives us. I mean, I'm sure we could probably Google schmoogle it. I don't know Jordan's numbers in comparison to this new guy that's coming from Cochrane. Okay. His numbers in comparison in regards to sales could be even better than Jordan's, maybe 10 times better. I don't know. But apparently it was like a big deal to be able to secure him away from them because it was ended up in the, I'm sure, the real estate hotlines. Okay. All right. So that's just the first 3 episodes. I'm sort of like taking my time getting into it. Maybe I'll talk more about it next week. Again, we're getting the interpersonal drama, the competitiveness amongst the agents, but we're also getting to see luxury New York City real estate. So far, just based off the first episodes, I am thoroughly impressed. And when I say thoroughly impressed, I'm impressed with the fact that they're not seeping in to interpersonal drama that, oh, he's sleeping with this one or he cheated on this one and blah. And yes, there's some of that spoken about. Like Jade is going through her divorce and she talks about that on the show. But it's just feel like it's minuscule in comparison to everything else that they're talking about on the show. That's my thoughts. Let's talk about Kimora back in the fab lane. And I'm still loving the show. Light, fun energy. I recapped the first 2 episodes last week. I told you that I felt like it was a solid beginning. And I feel like episodes 3 and 4 are solid as well. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. If you guys had to grade, maybe from A, B, C, or D, grade episodes 3 and 4, how would you grade it? I'm thinking to myself a C, because I feel like it's okay, but at the same time, I don't feel like I'm like excited with what we're getting until we get to episode 4. And I really like seeing Kimora in this capacity of being a mom of these teenagers. And I like seeing these teenagers. So the focus in episode 3 is Aoki is back. She's back, but everyone has feelings about it because they feel like she just up and left right before Thanksgiving and didn't tell anyone that she was leaving. Sidebar. I know originally I said that Ming looks a lot like Kimora, but seeing Aoki, I'm like, oh, I can see a lot of Aoki, probably more Aoki in Kimora or Kimora in Aoki or Aoki in Kimora. I can see more of that in Aoki. And watching Aoki, and for those that never watched the early series, you're probably like, why is she so odd? She's like an oddball. Even when she was a little girl, this is how she was. She would say off the wall stuff. And to be honest with you, Aoki was my favorite. I forgot because I haven't watched the show in such a long time. Aoki was my favorite when she was younger because she was such an oddball. She would say interesting, funny things. And I would love the interaction between Kimora and Aoki, but I completely forgot about it. And to see some of the things that she said and done on social media, I forget. I'm like, Aoki was an oddball always. And when I say oddball, I mean that in the best way because I feel like for reality television, it's perfect. So when she comes back in episode 3, she's being an oddball. She's being Aoki. She's saying and doing things that you're like, and sort of downplaying the fact that she was away. Her brother Kenzo was just like, yeah, you left. You know, yeah. She's like, you didn't call me. I called you, but you wouldn't call me. And he's like, yeah, because you left. So everyone missed her. She even meets up with Kimora's good friend Lala, and she talks about her upping and leaving. Lala understands, not the Lala, y'all. This is a different Lala. Lala understands why Aoki felt like she needed to take this little break after graduating from Harvard at 20 years old. She went to Harvard at 16, graduated at 20. So she's a smarty pants too. So she returns and she has a conversation with Lala. Lala completely understands, but she's like, how do you just leave for like 6 months and not, tell your family? She's like, I did tell my family. Yeah, when you were on like the tarmac getting ready to leave. She's like, I was busy. She's like, busy doing what? Packing. Okay. So like, I have to say, if anything, she's probably one of the reasons, along with Kimora, because very much looking like Kimora, I feel like Aoki has Kimora's sense of humor. Yeah, she makes me laugh. And look, Ming is not funny. Ming is pretty. She's also smart. She graduated from NYU, a top school here in New York. And she's a little bit more serious, but that's how she's always been. So now seeing them as adults, that they really haven't changed that much besides the way that they look. And they're a stunning family. All of them are good looking. Okay. So in episode 3, it's really Ming and Aoki, who used to be really close because they're very close in age and they grew up together. They're trying to find their way back. I didn't understand why Aoki immediately thought when Ming says, you look healthy. She's like, are you calling me fat? What? She's like, I think she's calling me fat. Mind you, if you see Aoki, she is very, very thin. Very thin. And it concerns me that she would even be concerned about being called fat. I don't know where that could possibly come from, where she could have... I mean, I don't get those vibes from Kimora that she makes her daughters feel like, oh, you're going to get chunky, you shouldn't be doing. And even though Kimora is a model and comes from that world, I don't feel like that's what she's imparting on her children. But I could be wrong. I'm not in their house. So Ming says that. So there's a little iciness between Ming and Aoki because Ming feels upset too that she just sort of up and left and they haven't seen her in several months. But they're also getting older. You're not forced to be in the house. You both are on your own. I'm sure they also weren't together for a while before too, because she was going to college as well. And Ming was going to college in New York. But maybe it's just different when you're outside the country. Maybe. Could be. Possibly. So episode 3 is really a lot about that. We do have some funny moments with Kimora. Was she going golfing? I don't know what she was doing. He was golfing with her friend. She goes golfing. They see Coyote. I didn't know you could see Coyote like that in the, like literally like on the golf thing. I thought you could only see that like if you were going in the mountains or something like that. But okay. All right. So, and at one particular point, Kimora is chasing after the Coyote. Girl, if you don't get in that golf cart and keep it moving. And then there were those little things. I don't even know what those were that were running around. They weren't mice. They were something else. Running around and she's jumping around. Like, I don't mind these cute, funny, silly side moments with Kimora. But in episode 4, Kimora, and this is what we talked about last week, she wants her daughters to be a little bit more serious and a little bit more involved in the baby fat business. So there are a few businesses that Kimora has. It's not just baby fat, because one of the things that Russell Simmons was accusing her and her ex, because apparently they got divorced in 2022, the other guy that was facing jail time, that she doesn't talk about. She makes jokes about her ex-husbands, but she doesn't talk about them specifically. But one of the businesses that Kimora is invested in, I think Russell also is invested in, or has some stake in, is the Celsius brand, which is a huge drinking brand, like energy drink brand. So I didn't realize that until I was like looking. I mean, I knew before, but I completely forgot. Looking at her in her office, and I saw the Celsius cans behind her. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's what the whole issue with Russell, where he was suing her, claiming that I believe he accused her of selling some of the Celsius stock that she shouldn't have. I don't know. I don't even know if they've even settled that at this particular point. Okay. Guys, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the latest episodes of Kimora back in the Fab Lane. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. Be sure to share the video as well. And be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And turn on your notifications so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. You can also hear our live recaps and special episodes, including the Diddy documentary recap that we did yesterday, the Sean Combs' The Reckoning review that we did. It was a really good review, over 2 hours, and we had callers. So you can also hear that now on the Kempire podcast, or you can watch it here on YouTube. Okay. So back to Kimora back in the Fab Lane. Okay. So in episode 4, there's a focus on the business and both Aoki and Ming getting involved in the business, because that's the one thing that I appreciated about Kimora. Kimora could have been a doting wife. She did not have to get into this business of fashion and being successful at it too. Because it's not like she just got, like, there was sort of like this little side project. No, she was very much involved in creating baby fat and making it successful. She recently, a few years ago, bought it back. So this is a great platform for her to continue the legacy of baby fat. And it's still, I don't know if it's thriving, but it's still around. And she talks about that on the show in regards to what they're doing right now when it comes to baby fat. And her daughters, who always, if you remember, when they would have a fashion show for baby fat, they would always, at the end, close out the show. It would be Kimora and her 2 little girls coming out. Now, the 2 little girls are grown women and models, and they also model for baby fat. So we also see a photo shoot when Aoki came back in episode 3. She's doing a photo shoot. And in episode 4, they're talking about the business. And Kimora's like, I need you guys to be a little bit more involved. Technically, they're involved. When Ming is asked about, like, so what do you do? And she's like a creative director, maybe. So the thing is now, Kimora wants them to really be involved. And they should be. Like, this is, and I get it. If you're not passionate about it, I can understand. But they're both models. So in some level, you are passionate about fashion. Maybe you can take this brand into the future. You know what I mean? And not just be models for it, be very involved in the business side. And that's the thing about Kimora. Like I was saying, she could have just been the doting wife and not do anything and just enjoy the luxury. But no, she really wanted to be involved in business. And if you watch her old reality series, she was smart. That's the thing. Like, she was actually really, really smart about business. And the fact that baby fat is still around and that she bought it back and she's still keeping it around for how many years later, You got to give her credit for that. I personally would like to see her to be successful because you can tell she's passionate about fashion and she has been successful with the brand before. I mean, I don't really see people wearing baby fat like that, but I don't think it's impossible to, really, they're all very fashionable. I know she had the Kimora Lee Simmons high-end line at one particular point. I don't know if that's still around or if she's still creating for that. It was called KLS. I don't know if she's still doing that. We saw that on the reality show as well. But in episode 4, there's a photo shoot with all of them. Aoki feels a little estranged from the dynamic because she feels like Kimora and Ming have a lot more in common as opposed to Kimora's relationship with Aoki. So she's always sort of feeling like she wants to be a part of that. I feel like Kimora really tries to spend time with all of her kids. We even see a moment where she takes out Wolfie to go paint, to do a little arts and craft thing. So one of the things, despite being a successful businesswoman, she looks like she's a successful parent. Also showing up for Diddy's daughters, who were Kim Porter's daughters as well, showing up for them and being like a motherly figure to them. So one of the things I feel like she's also successful at is being a parent. Based on what we've seen. Again, would the kids say the same? I think they would. They seem to be very happy and very close with their mom. She also seems like a fun mom, but I also think that she will also put her foot down when necessary. And that's what she's doing in episode 4. In episode 4, she's emphasizing to them, like, you guys need to get involved more. You need to do more. While Aoki and Ming are trying to work on their sister relationship, they go out and do this sort of like, I forgot, it's like that fabric gymnastics thing. So they're trying to connect on that again and connect with being sisters again. I feel like they don't need to force it. They're at the age where you're finding your own way. I don't think there should be any animosity. I don't think there should be any anger. But I feel like if you force or try to force a relationship, that's where conflict will arise, in my opinion. My expert opinion with a psychology degree. Okay. All right. What else happens in this episode? We see the boys are hanging out at the gym. Every time Kimora calls them, they're not answering. And she's like, why are the kids not answering me? Why are they not picking up any of my calls? Because they're all teenagers or in their 20s and doing their own thing, unfortunately. But I think they all love Kimora. It's really interesting to see, and I get it. For a reality show, the ex-husband is not going to film. We got Russell Simmons in Bali. He's definitely not going to film. There's, I think, active litigation. I don't know if there's still active litigation. I'm assuming so because I haven't seen a resolution to what he was accusing her of. But there's also active litigation against Russell, hence why he's not in the country. So then there's that, right? Then there's that. What else happened in this episode that I wanted to talk about? See, I mean, look, they're short episodes. They're fun episodes, but they're short episodes. And like I said to you before, I feel like episodes 3 and 4, I would give a C. The premiere episodes were good, but like I said to you before, I felt like, they're okay. Nothing crazy. If you're looking for something light, fun, in an easy watch, this is perfect. But yeah, it was just okay this week. It'd be interesting to see where we go next week with the episodes. Just because I feel like, there's nothing else that I really want. Yes, there were other scenes with Kimora and some of her friends. Kimora even sits down with Lala to have a conversation about her daughters and whatnot. Yeah, I feel like it's cute. It's a cute show. I apparently I had more to say about the first 3 episodes of Owning Manhattan, but I literally just watched that. But I also feel like there's a lot more characters and a lot more going on. I hope you enjoyed having a conversation about both, though. And I said I might as well talk about both here because I don't really want to do a separate video or separate live talking about this show, about individual shows. That just makes it a lot more work for me. Right? All right, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed this recap. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video. Be sure to share the video. Be sure to subscribe. And don't forget, you can hear an audio version of our live recaps. If I think of anything else, I might add that to the audio. Hence why it's important to subscribe to the Kempire podcast as well. Right? While you're there, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Happy holidays, guys. We're fully in the swing of the holidays. Before you know it, how many more days till Christmas? 14, 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, about less than 2 weeks now. 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks till Christmas. OMG. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this latest recap. And as I said before, if you missed it, we did recap the Sean Combs Reckoning documentary presented by 50 Cent and Netflix. Be sure to check out our review on YouTube, or you can hear it on the Kempire podcast. Let's continue this conversation about owning Manhattan and Kimora back in the Fab Lane in the comments section. Bye, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to Kempire here on the Kempire Radio Network. Don't forget to give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. And for more information on the podcast, head on over to KempireRadio.com.